Hi, welcome to Rein It In. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
And we are here today, waiting in a long line of cars, moderately long line of cars, waiting to get a COVID test before leaving Colorado.
Yep. It's been a fun trip, but much of Western Colorado doesn't seem to think that COVID ever happened.
Yeah, I mean, mask use is abysmal here. I haven't looked up what vaccination rates are. Who knows? It could be higher than Georgia's 50%.
Yeah.
But I know we've definitely been exposed to unmasked and unvaccinated people in the time that we've been here.
Oh yeah, lots. We've tried, but it's also a little tough. But anyways, that's the not fun part of this.
Right. Yeah. So we're gonna podcast to you while waiting to get our noses swabbed. But we have many things to say that don't have anything to do with COVID.
So we originally intended to come out to Colorado, stay on Rachel's folks' property on the tiny house we've been building with them.
Right.
But
we intended for that house to be completed.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So we were hoping we were going to stay on our new tiny house that we're building with them. But world happens and there's delays, and we'll hopefully be in it.
I think
this spring.
I had no idea how long construction takes, and then of course there's one sort of fundamental part that's kind of slowing us down, which is some of the heating ducts. You can't put in insulation because it won't dry, blah blah blah.
Yeah, but then there was also they couldn't get the cans they needed, and that delayed being able to finish the electrical, which so it's sort of like a bunch of little things, not a big deal. Yeah, I mean it's such a first world problem, but it would have been nice, but instead we stayed in a nice Airbnb in Austin.
Austin, yeah, which is nothing of a town.
Yeah, it comes up as Orchard City because that's sort of the next
biggest city. I mean,
they at least have a town hall.
Yeah, Orchard City is not more than a couple thousand
hundred people. Yeah, you think 1,000? Yeah, I think it takes up space, right? It's not dense.
Cedar Edge is 2,000 people.
Okay,
or maybe 2,500. So, in the kind of general area. Anyway, it's very rural, whatever. Yeah. The Airbnb was nice, though. It was not as nice as our
tiny house is going to be.
And
now, if you're interested in any of it, we have a previous podcast. We talked about the tiny house planning a little bit, but recently, if you check out our Instagram at @ReinItIn_podcast, or Facebook, ReinItIn-podcast, I think. One of them's got a dash, one of them's got an underscore. But put in Rein It In podcast and you should get it. But there's some pictures of it where it's going on, and I just cannot get over how beautiful it is out in Western Colorado.
Yeah, the views that we have from the place are really great. And I mean, I think Colorado mountains get most of the sort of attention, right, in terms of the ski area sort of mountains, but it's really lovely out here too. I mean, and we are of course close to some ski areas. Crested Butte has one and Telluride has one. So we're not far from them, but it's also desert out here.
Yeah. So there's a lot of flat, but there's also the Grand Mesa is grand. It is just massive, and we're sort of almost like in a little saddle or something, or right up on the side of it. So just its size is significant, but it takes up probably 120 degrees of the horizon.
Yeah, it does. And it goes up to almost 12,000 feet at the top. There's 200 lakes up there. Yeah. If that kind of helps you imagine the size of what it is. Yeah.
We didn't get a chance to go cross-country skiing. We were sort of hoping to. It just didn't quite work out weather-wise and time-wise. We ended up only being with Rachel's folks for 5 days.
Yeah. We were going to try to go elsewhere in Colorado, about a 4-hour drive up further north, and that did not end up working out because of the weather.
Yeah, we were trying to go to Steamboat Springs, and it was that sort of foiled our last 2 days, which at the same time gave us a nice second half of the trip. But while we were
we'll talk to you a little bit about Grand Junction, a city that I am increasingly fond of.
Yeah, that'll be the second half, I think, right? But what else do we have going on from the tiny house perspective, though, right? We put together some cabinets. We have more cabinets to put together once we get further on that, measured out a bunch of stuff.
We made some choices about countertops, which ultimately ended up being laminate because the price difference between granite and laminate was bonkers.
Yeah.
And, I mean, for a house that we're not staying in all the time, it does not make sense to spend that much money on granite.
We're looking to Airbnb it too at some point, so it'll be nice to know that someone's not going to accidentally
look for that listing.
Destroy the counters
in the future.
Yeah, right.
Well, it'll probably be about a year, but we want to get in my mom really wants to get in the landscaping before we do that. Landscaping is very important to her, much more so than it is to me.
Yeah. But, we did some other things. I thought it was funny your folks said that, the location is great for a bunch of day trips, which I think when you live in the West, in the Mountain West,
day trips have a different meaning.
Right. So you can drive 3 to 4 hours to get to
something.
Yeah. Which I think I would probably want to stay overnight if I drove that far. But it's still a good jump-off point. If you're going to fly into Grand Junction, might be a little cheaper than flying into some other places, depending on the time of year. Montrose is another good thing. But if
they both have airports.
Yeah, we're on the edge of the mesa, so if you're ever looking to do, just like
fishing, cross-country skiing, hiking. There's all kinds of.
It's actually not too far from Aspen if you take the back way.
Right.
You got to do that in the summertime.
Yeah.
Spring, fall, winter.
You don't want to do it in the winter. But yeah, there's Ouray, which is full of hot springs, and ice climbing if you're that kind of adventurer.
Yeah, we didn't get any hot springs in either. I know. It was really rainy.
It was.
Most of the time.
The weather wasn't great. And it's not quite cold enough to snow, although today it's snowing, which is kind of nice. But so we got a lot of rain. It was a little bit gloomy.
Yeah, but we got some Christmas cookie making in. We got some relaxing. You got a nap in every day.
I did,
much, which was pretty nice.
I can sleep. I can nap anywhere. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if there are 5 people having a conversation.
Yeah, your office mates of the past.
Yeah.
Can attest to this.
Yeah, I can fall asleep. Yeah, in the other room, right, while there are 3 children shrieking in the other room. So
probably helps they're not your children.
Right. Yes. So I'm pretty good at napping. Is what I'm saying.
But the day after Christmas, we jumped in the car and Rachel's folks brought us back to Grand Junction Airport. We rented a car. Nice, we had SUV and not too big of one.
We're sitting
we're sitting in it right now. It's reasonably comfortable. And we're slowly inching forward. So you might hear the engine occasionally.
Yep.
But yeah, no, we jumped. We started going and we picked up that car and it was seriously gloomy out. Like it looked like straight out of a movie where the evil is coming or something. Yeah. It was just this dark gray, even though it was noon.
You couldn't see any of the mountains, any of the mesa, any of anything.
Yeah. And we got the car, and it wasn't bad, and it was a little bit windy in Grand Junction, but we got on that road, and it definitely was getting windier. My favorite was that it was snowing and windy in such a way that all the street signs were
all the highway signs.
All the highway signs, yeah. So you couldn't see like what exits there were or anything like that.
They were just completely covered in snow, yeah.
And you couldn't see the mountains we were driving through.
Yeah. So we made it like an hour before we decided that we needed to turn around. I mean, the forecast was just for not that much snow, but like 40 to 50 mile an hour winds. And when you're dealing with some snow and that windy, then you get like visibility issues and potential black ice issues, and like, it just didn't seem safe to drive for another 3 hours in that.
Your mom sent us too, like Steamboat made the Weather Channel for how blustery and snowy it was, right? So it was a bummer to not see my brother and his family. It's been a long time since we've had an opportunity to get out there because of the COVID stuff. And
yeah, I mean, we were looking forward to it, but traveling in Colorado in the winter, it's always the possibility that you won't, be able to do what you expected. Because the weather is, I mean, it's not terrible. It's not like Colorado is, under 3 feet of snow constantly in the winter, like I think some people think it is.
Right.
But
when it snows, it can definitely snow.
Yeah.
So we ended up back in Grand Junction. We extended our stay because we were planning on driving up to Steamboat and then staying one night up there and then popping back down to Grand Junction because our flight leaves this afternoon. So we wanted to make sure we had gotten back into town and weren't stuck in the mountains trying to rush to get to an airplane. And pretty nice hotel, though, honestly.
Yeah, it is. We stayed at a True, TRU, by Hilton, which is apparently a dog-friendly hotel.
I know. I like that the first question they asked you were, well, not the first, but you were checking in and, like, more or less one of the first questions they asked was, like, do you have a dog?
Yep.
Which isn't normally what I expect to get, but it didn't seem doggy. I think you said, like, the floors are all hardwood or laminate or something, which honestly is kind of nicer.
I agree. Then you don't have to worry that the carpet's really gross. So yeah, we pet one nice dog in the elevator yesterday.
Talked to a few dogs.
We talked to a few other dogs. Yeah. But yeah, it's got kind of a European style to it.
What is it? You said that too. What do you?
Like, the room is small. Mm-hmm. There's not a closet, right? There's just hooks and that kind of thing. Yeah. So that reminded me.
Yeah, I can see that.
A little bit more of. I mean, it's not like a tiny room or anything, but like. No.
But it was efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was like a desk that you could wheel around, a chair that you could wheel around. We used that for doing a impromptu Colorado cider tasting.
Yeah.
It's from Williams
Cellars is the winery.
I forget what the...
Yeah, I don't remember what the name of the cidery is. No. But, I mean, if you looked up Williams Cellars cider, you would probably find it. But they
were solid, though. Like, they've got... Like, they're a multi-generational farming family from that area.
Apple orchards. Well, and grapes and probably peaches as well. Peaches are actually the biggest cash crop. But a lot of because apples are not as good of a cash crop as they used to be, they are turning a lot of their apples into cider. So,
which turns it into more of a cash crop again. It's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah,
because people like to get drunk, like us, true. Or at least relaxed.
Yeah. So we tried. What did we try? We tried their dry cider.
Yeah, which was like 6,130 or something like that, which is the feet that the apples come from.
The altitude. And we tried the Honeycrisp one.
That was a good one.
We tried
It was an heirloom apple one.
Yeah.
It had like 3 apples.
That one was maybe one of our favorites.
Yeah. It was a little bit dry, but it was still had some sweetness to it.
It had just a unique flavor.
Very appley in a like essence of apple way.
And then we did the sour cherry, which I thought was delicious.
It was still a cider, right? It just also had sour cherry in it?
Yeah. Yeah. So the ingredients were apples and sour cherry, basically.
Yeah, that one was really interesting. It had a good color. I would be hard pressed to drink like multiples of those. Yeah,
I think cider, just kind of in general, you only really want 1 or 2 because they are a little bit sticky.
Right, unless you're drinking Scrumpies at... I wonder if they still do Scrumpies. Those are so dangerous in Fort Collins. Yeah. Everybody remembers... Coopersmith's. Yeah, there was some dangerous evenings because they only brought them out seasonally.
I had a truly epic birthday night with my friend Jack long ago.
But yeah, so we'll take a short break here. We're getting pretty close to the swabbing.
Can probably tell you a little bit about Grand Junction. I bet we have enough time.
Yeah. All right.
So I've been coming out to the Western Slope for my entire life, basically, because my grandfather lived out here.
Well, you were technically
I was
born out.
I was born here too, yeah. But I only lived out here for the first year of my life. So Grand Junction, which is what we're going to talk about next for a little bit, is the biggest city that's out in this.
Biggest little city on the Western Slope.
Yeah. So it's not terribly large, but it does have a college. It has Colorado Mesa University, and I'm going to look at the population because I'm now curious.
But, they've got a cute little downtown that they've renovated over the last decade or two. I remember coming here as a kid, too. My dad lived in Denver, and my brother and I lived out in New York State, but we would come out and spend the summers here with my dad. And he would always take a week or 2 off work, and we would take an epic road camping, fishing, Colorado mountain trip every year, and which inevitably you'd end up cutting through Grand Junction occasionally,
right,
or being out this way. And I posted this actually on my personal Facebook that I have this strong memory of buying, or probably my dad buying, the Star Wars Snow Trooper here, which is maybe more fitting for this trip too because there's snow. That was during the summer, and there was definitely no snow at the time. But yeah, that was always one of my favorite Star Wars characters, or
toys,
yeah, figures.
So, Grand Junction is 62,000 people. So,
it was probably maybe half of that when we used to come, because it was way smaller. There was a mall, which is where we got that, and I think we saw a movie, but there wasn't much here. And all I remember Grand Junction at the time was everything was brown, but that's kind of the Mountain West.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. In the summer, it's going to be super
or the
brown
Colorado
here, because
West,
it is like it is desert, right? Like as you drive in between here and Cedar Ridge, where my parents live, it's the Great Stinking Desert. In fact, but it's not desert like people probably think of desert, right? It's not sand dunes, it's not sandy, right? It's
but it's like there's a lot of like wild grasses that are green earlier in the spring, and then they just go brown. There's a bunch of like really slow growing ancient like pines and some different things like that. So you get, and sage, so you get these like sort of gray green colors, which just adds to the earth tone palette. So even in summertime, it's already kind of gray or brown. But there is an amount of sky here that is rare, even in other parts of Colorado, because like if you're on the Front Range, Denver, Fort Collins sort of area, there's the mountains are to your west and you can always see them, but it
cuts off the sky a little bit.
Yeah, and there's a lot more stuff, but here
there's a lot of sky. So anyway, we ended up having 2 nights in Grand Junction. We were expecting to have one, and so we took advantage of it, and we have this rental car that we don't need just for walking around downtown. So we decided yesterday that we would go to Colorado National Monument, which has been a national monument since 1911, I believe. So it's been around for a long time.
Some guy named Otto, last name Otto, I think.
Otto, really pushed to have it protected. So it's referred to as like the Little Grand Canyon, which I think is accurate. I mean, it's not at all little, but it's littler than the actual Grand Canyon.
And it's different than the Grand Canyon, but it has some similarities.
I haven't been to the Grand Canyon, so I cannot report back.
I've seen pictures of it, though, right? Like, because there's a little bit more green and trees and stuff, even though we're just talking about how brown it is out here. Again, it's that sort of like earthy green.
Yeah, there are a lot of like pinyon pines and junipers.
And we almost returned the car, too, to save a few dollars. Although we got such a good deal on this car, it really wasn't that big a deal. And but I'm really glad we didn't, because it was nice.
It was really nice. I mean, the drive there were parts of the drive that I really didn't like, but that's in part because the road some of the road had snow on it.
Yeah.
It wasn't actively snowing, but there were definitely patches of sort of like packed down snow, and there's not guardrails basically anywhere.
Yeah, that's one of the things out here in Colorado that I always forget about, is you get off the main highways and you're just on the edge of a cliff in a car. Like there was that one where we cut through the tunnels there, that they had built up this sort of road at the top of a ledge. But we were driving and I was like, wow, what is that? It can't be a dam. There's no water there. But it was like so high up on the side of the mountain. And then sure enough, we took a turn and Rachel was like, I think that's the road we're going to drive over.
Yeah.
And it was just sheer cliff for like 1,000 feet or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you get to the top and there's nothing keeping you from just rolling off the side. I think that there might have been a couple like blocks, but they were of stone, but they were just like a couple inches high.
Yeah, it definitely. So, if you're
afraid of heights,
if you're a nervous driver, or if you're afraid of heights, which I am, but
or agoraphobia too, I guess, is that the big open spaces?
Big open spaces, yeah. Agoraphobia. Agoraphobia is probably like fear of agriculture, cows.
Speaking of cows, we didn't talk about them in the first half. We had to herd cows out of her parents' property twice. They don't have any animals on their, just birds and such, but they don't have any like livestock. But a lot of the people around them do, and someone's cows had gotten free. So the second or third day we were there, we got back and there was just a cow hanging out eating grass in their driveway. Driveway, quote.
Yeah,
it's like half a mile road. And that was easy enough. We just got out of the car and pulled her to the side, and Rachel's stepfather and I like kind of looped around the outside, and the cow looked up and was like, nope, I'm out of here, and just ran back out the gate. So it was no big deal. They leave the gate open during the day because they get like deliveries and such.
Right, and then it's closed at night because the gated fence is really there to keep the deer out.
Yeah, because they'll eat the vines.
Yeah.
And But then the next day, he went out to close the gate in the evening, and they had come halfway into the property, which is like a ways. Yeah.
And
so
there were 3 of them.
Right. And there were 3 of them, and a couple of real big ones, and they were not at all as cooperative as the first one. So Rachel's mom and I were trying to herd them and clapping and yelling and whooping to keep them moving, and they kept getting around us to go back to their group that was on the other side of the fence.
Right, so they just,
So even though they weren't with them, they were nearer them, so they kept wanting to go back to their group, but fortunately her stepfather went to get the ATV, and when he started driving towards us, that herd on the other side of the fence moved toward the front of the property, and then those cows went. But it was, we were out there for probably 45 minutes or something, wouldn't you say? And it was cold and raining, so that was pleasant.
I stayed inside.
But it was kind of fun at the same time, but it was. What made me think? Oh, we were talking about.
I was making jokes about agoraphobia.
Right? So
fear of cows. Anyway.
But that's mostly the cows were cooperating, but there was a few times where they would just stop and just look at me, and I was like, oh my god, if this thing charges at me, this is thousands of pounds.
I don't think they do. I don't think lady cows very often will charge you. I mean, that's why, bulls are dangerous.
Right. They were giving me some dirty looks a couple times.
Testosterone.
And then, I was just 10 feet away from them at some of those times. I was just making sure I stayed away from their legs. But anyway, yeah. So back to the mountains and the Colorado
National Monument.
Colorado National Monument. Which is funny it's called Colorado National Monument because it's more of a state park.
It's more of a park than a monument. I mean, I would think of monument as a big statue, which it is not.
No, but there's a couple erosion areas where you get those cool pillars like you see in the cowboy movies. And one of those is called Independence Monument, and I think it's sort of that's the main draw. There's another one too that they call something Monument, I think, up there.
Right.
But man, it was beautiful, and the roads weren't too bad. It was definitely cold.
Yeah, we just went slow, so it was definitely well worth going up there. So if you're in this part of the country, there's 2 really nice things, right? There's there's more than 2 really nice things, but Colorado National Monument is lovely, and then Black Canyon, the Gunnison, which has just recently been made a national park, is also really nice. So
and there's a bunch of pictures again on our Instagram and Facebook, worth checking out. But I still think the pictures do not do justice.
They don't really let you know how big everything is.
Yeah,
it's really hard to capture that. And maybe if we had, very fancy computers, phones, cameras, and the right kind of lenses, it would be a little bit better.
Yeah, I think part of the issue though with the pictures is, well, at least phone cameras, they are spread out enough so it just makes everything look small.
Yeah, it's true.
Even though it's our brains change the scale, so you kind of see how tall everything seems. There's just so much sky.
Yeah.
But anyways, we should take a break before we talk about downtown Grand Junction.
Because we are
about to get swabbed.
Yep, indeed.
All right.
We've actually been home for over a week, and we're finishing up this podcast. Yeah. No, we got home a week ago today, I guess. Not until 1 a.m. So we're under a week. We'll get it published under a week. So, yeah, we wanted to finish this off promptly after we got home, and then New Year's happened, and we had house guest and blah, 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 blah. You guys don't need to know our whole life story.
No. But we wanted to come back and just wrap up a little bit about our accidental 2-day vacation in Grand Junction, which turned out to be, a positive side effect to not an awesome situation about needing to turn around.
It was super pleasant. Yeah.
Oh, also, we tested negative.
We did. Well, actually, you did. I have never gotten my test results from that COVID test. But
you've taken 2 home tests.
Yeah, 2 home tests say I'm negative. So you do need to know all about our lives. But
evidently.
Well, I mean, we weren't getting COVID tested in the beginning. It was like a suspense.
Yeah. Which is interesting, too, because we had another friend who got tested and got hers back multiple days later. And more than a day later than her partner who got it taken at the same time. And that was our friend who found out that they actually had COVID after they got to their family's house. Fortunately, nobody else got sick, but just obviously this is going around. So hopefully everybody's as safe as you can be out there. Your family members are safe out there. But let's talk about
Grand Junction.
Yep.
Because we don't have that long. So we talked about the monument already, which is...
This is not a recap for all of you because you just heard it like 40 seconds ago.
Right. Which is right outside of Grand Junction. What was it, like a 15-minute drive or something to get to it?
A little bit more, but not dramatically.
Really so we spent the rest of our time in Grand Junction kind of tooling around downtown. So like I said in the last one, downtown is nice. Most of the shops are full. It's really only 1 to 1.5 streets. It's not big, but it goes for multiple blocks. I think it goes probably for 7 or 8 blocks. And it's really active.
Right. Excuse me. And the first night we were there, unexpectedly, we just, extended our hotel and we went out to, just take a look at town and round up a little bit of food. And we got to see one of the inhabitants of the Western Slope in particular, which was tumbleweeds.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Again, plugging the Instagram, rated_podcast.
There
took a picture. There was 2 tumbleweeds in the same, out front of a Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
But there was a tumbleweed that was massive.
Yeah.
It was almost as tall as the hood of the car that we hit on the highway, or getting off the highway.
We didn't hit a car.
No, the tumbleweed was almost as large as the car.
Yeah.
We almost hit the tumbleweed, or we did hit the tumbleweed.
Yeah,
just
we were
crushed under us.
Kind of big car too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was windy that night and cold. Same storm, obviously, that had kept us from driving up into the mountains. Yeah. So we ended up in an Irish pub,
as you do on the Western Slope of Colorado.
Irish pubs, I realized, are a ubiquitous thing, right? They're everywhere.
What's your favorite Irish pub?
That's a good question. The one in, obviously...
I thought that you would have an easy answer to this.
Right, obviously the one in Buenos Aires is...
the best experience.
Yeah,
right?
The most memorable experience because of all the hair metal and the trying to learn how to ask for cigarettes in Spanish.
And being taken there by one of our friends, which was pretty fantastic. Who lives there. But
that's definitely not one I ever would have found on my own.
No. And but it was fun to hang out, and I think I drank like local beers and stuff there as well.
Yeah, I don't remember what I drank. At this one I drank like a cider and then some wine because I had some wine earlier. Just staying with it, rolling with the wine.
But the food was pretty good there. I forget what the place was called. Something like the Goat
and Clover.
Goat and Clover.
Yeah. We had pies. And
savory pies.
Yes. And then I guess sort of following up on that feel, the pub feel, we went home and watched The Witcher.
Oh yeah, right.
Nice hotel.
Yeah.
Big TV. What else are you going to do?
No, I know. One of the other things that was pretty fun that first night too, we were just walking around, walking off our meat pies, and there was this there's also just a ton of statues. Yeah. This is kind of a Colorado thing too, because Loveland, they're all over the place. Fort Collins downtown, they're around, but there's a lot of these Grand Junction has a little bit more of a spectrum. Some of them are pretty interesting. Some of them are painfully quaint.
Yeah.
And but there was this one that was it looked like someone on a bicycle, and obviously it wasn't real, but someone had dressed him up in warm clothes or her up.
Yeah.
And I think that also someone had painted their eyes or something at some point, because that was what was creeping me out, is I could see what looked like eyes looking at me, even though it was obviously this balancing bicycle.
Right, yeah.
And then later the next day we came out of a sort of an alley or whatever. We were cutting between the 2 streets, and there was this super stereotypical Colorado bendy, stretchy, jumpy woman, and that was all painted with swirls and stuff, and the only thing I could do is exclaim, "Fucking Colorado!"
Yeah, there was a bunch of kind of 80s Colorado decor, different places, right? So I think some of those buildings were remodeled or built in the 80s, so it had really classic 80s feels. Which if you grew up in the West or spent any time out west in the 80s, it makes you feel kind of nostalgic for these rounded banisters.
Yeah. I do always think it's really interesting how much of that like 80s decor still exists in Colorado, especially Western Slope, a little more, or Grand Junction.
Yeah, because it's not cool. They haven't needed to get cool yet.
But considering the first time I was in Grand Junction was in the 80s,
right?
That was probably went to the bathroom in that same bathroom or something like that. Who knows?
So second day that we were there,
that's when we went up to the.
That's when we went up to the monument. Stopped at a winery. Stopped also at a brewery
for lunch.
Brewery.
Brewery.
But see, if we were the type of people who edit this
podcast, we would pull that out.
Take that out.
This is bonus content. You don't need to wait till the end.
It's true.
But yeah, then we came back into town, and I think we took a nap, maybe. But we've been walking around, and then we went back out for dinner, and.
That was the night when we tried to get pizza and the pizza place was out of dough.
Yeah,
and
the pizza place had such good reviews, and I was so looking forward to pizza, and they were out of dough.
Yep. So that was.
We ended up getting some good Indian food across the street. There was some dal that was okay, but there was
really good lamb. Yeah, lamb masala korma.
Yeah, masala.
Yeah. So I mean. It ended up fine. Like all the restaurants that I've eaten at in that downtown area have been pretty nice.
We also went to that other brewery. Sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
Before dinner because we were like looking for a cocktail, but the cocktail place was closed for a private event.
No, it was a staff meeting.
And so we ended up going to a different brewery that was downtown. That was pretty good. I don't remember. It wasn't Scuttlebutt, but it was something.
We have pictures of it.
Yeah.
I think posted on the Instagram. This was what happens when you don't do a podcast for a week.
Yeah, I know. But like the beers are all pretty good there. We had a flight, but that was the place that did make you ask, like, is this Nordic-ish inspired?
Oh,
but
right,
like
or alt-right.
Loki's something and...
Yeah, Loki's Stout, I think you had. I mean, obviously Loki is just popular right now, but they had a bunch of other, like, sort of Icelandic or Norwegian-y kind of names for their beers. Yeah.
But again, Nazis ruin everything. And
yeah, they do.
Neo-Nazis in the United States also ruin everything.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't... Other than that, I mean, the clientele seemed diverse and stuff.
Yeah,
so
right,
it was, like the bartenders didn't have like big old runes tattooed on their foreheads or anything. It was.
I didn't see any Trump
hats
chill. Or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, but I had a great tasting room. I would definitely check that place out. It's on the side street, not Main.
It's on Colorado. Yeah. Main Street is Main. Secondary Street is Colorado.
Yeah. So, but I think that wraps us up.
It does, pretty much.
We're still going to release this as our third season for 2021, since it took place then.
Most of it was recorded then.
Yeah, well, but all the content was about then.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Anyway, we hope you have a happy new year and that you are, as we said, staying safe. We won't be able to report on my birthday trip because we're not going on it because COVID. So we'll figure out something.
Right.
Something fun from this month.
So let us know how things are going out in your neck of the woods. If you had any fun trips for Christmas, despite the holidays over the New Year, despite COVID. If Nazis have ruined anything,
they ruin everything.
They do ruin everything. So, and you're working on a paper about killing Hitler.
I know. Let's kill Hitler! ! Coming to Orlando, Florida, in March.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. You can check us out at anchor.fm/rainitin. That's spelled REINITIN. All one word, no spaces. And you can leave us a message there. You can also follow us at Instagram at rainitin_podcast or email us at rainitin@ssdpress.org. Also spelled REINITIN at ssdpress.org. Thanks again to all of our friends and family for all the support and for putting up with this. Have a great day.